is living longer always a good thing? And to what extent is age really an indicator of a life well lived? Successful aging being the dominant discourses that mediates that influence how people experience this phase of life. Our experiences of this period of the life cycle are importantly shaped by dimensions of difference, including race, gender, class, sexuality, and ability. And these effects, compounded in later life, can be seen both in how, in the long-term outcomes or consequences of economic, social, and political marginalization on the health and well-being of older adults, as well as their continued challenges in finding access to the care and support that they require as they age. And so I'm thinking through age as both a biological process that is changing, as well as the social and cultural meanings that are ascribed to that experience. I had proposed to tackle these questions through 3 articles. The first being an exercise in setting out dominant discourses of aging, primarily looking at successful aging, and better understanding where and how these discourses have traveled, have been contested, and are materializing in policy around the world.
So the provisory title of my PhD project is Cultivating Flowers in a Wastewaterscape, a feminist ethnography of agrarian transformation in Maharashtra, India. In other words, I followed the entanglements or flows of water, waste, and flowers in Maharashtra, focusing on the people, on the farmers, and particularly women farmers, who enable, experience, and embody these entanglements. How do small farmers cultivating flowers tinker with political and material arrangements governing wastewater flows? And how do these tinkering practices end up reproducing or challenging inequalities across gender, caste, and class? And how do women farmers particularly experience and embody the wastewaterscape they inhabit? How do they negotiate their subjectivity and agency with it and in relation to wastewater? That households belonging to different castes and classes. I mostly followed farmers' everyday practices, so going with them to farms, joining their daily routine, paying attention to their everyday dealing with waters.
Just to remind us that Indonesia, I think until now, is still the largest producer of oil palm in the world, and 40% of the oil palm plantation is belong to the smallholders smallholders family. So when we talk about independent oil palm smallholders, it's not small at all, it's big. What is interesting is that in a policy and media discourse in Indonesia, smallholders is often presented as more equitable and sustainable than large-scale investment in oil palm. And my research question is aiming to explore on how care, the critical dimension of equity, is being addressed, or as far as I aware, ignored in the government and NGO efforts to support smallholders oil palm cultivation to increase their productivity and to link this to gender discourses around family and the concept of family farm in the context of oil palm in specific way and in agriculture, in Indonesian agriculture in more. To answer my questions by doing discourse analysis on policy documents and media, and to examine on how questions of care are addressed or as far as I aware is mostly ignored.